Hi, everyone. I have graded your papers from last week and posted feedback in the rubric. This assignment, I think, is especially difficult, primarily because there's so many moving parts. You were asked to pick a theory and then use that theory to develop your idea of what a good professional practice model would be for your own work environment. And then you were asked to take all those pieces and parts and make a pretty picture. Your schematic, some people really enjoy this assignment because they're crafty and they're great with spatial things and they enjoy the artistic freedom of this. And some people get really stressed by it because they're not artistic and they have a hard time seeing things in pictures and blocks and how they all connect. So whether you love or hate the assignment, the end result was that your schematic needed to have the ability to be looked at and to understand how all of your concepts connected within the framework of a theory. And then you had to put it in APA format. So if you pulled your hair out with this or you're frustrated with it, know that this is a tough assignment. Know that the assignment is designed to stretch you and have you do some different things. I was really pleased with the results. I am never surprised that some students really do well and some students struggle because it helps us use a different skill set. That being said, I want to remind you that if you got feedback that your inserted figure was not properly formatted, this is the book that you were supposed to be using to figure that out. It starts on page 150 and it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to properly insert a figure. The majority of you did a great job with that and got pretty close. But for fine detail, I want you to go in and look at the book. If you chose to do an appendix, which in my opinion is probably the easier of the options, that's great. And as long as you used the proper formatting for an appendix, it was probably a more straightforward approach. So just know that your APA manual is your best friend when coming up, when you're being thrown a curveball and you have to learn a new APA skill like inserting a figure or developing an appendix. Your use of level headings in this paper was essential because of the complexity of the paper, and all of you did a fantastic job with that. Really starting to see you develop good structure and good outlines to your papers using levels 1, 2, and 3, and this paper really lent itself for it, so that was really great to see. I want to remind you that in future courses, you're going to be asked to look into a theoretical framework and apply it to the concept within a paper. And when you use a theoretical framework or you use a theory as a framework, you need to make sure that you're doing more than defining a theory and moving on. You need to connect that theory with the content that's within your paper. You need to say, how does this theory connect, define, explain, support what I am doing in the major concepts within a paper. So as you move forward, being asked to use a theoretical framework is not going to be an uncommon request. So make sure that you understand the difference between pulling a theory out and defining it and then kind of leaving it in the dust and moving forward in your paper versus creating a thread with your theory and supporting your paper with that theory. Theoretical frameworks stress a lot of people because it's not terribly fun to learn. It's not overly magical when you have to apply it, but it is the thing that informs our practice. It really is the beginning of evidence-based practice. So we have to understand what solid theories that have stood the test of time, the value they have in helping us develop cogent, well-developed scholarly ideas. So I want to remind you, when you see theoretical frameworks, we're asking you to do more than just define a theory and move on. Thread it through your paper. For this coming week, it's one of my favorite discussion boards to read. You're asked to talk about your calling to nursing. So there's going to be a lot of personal insight in that. So I enjoy reading that. I hope you enjoy your peers' experiences and sharing that with you. So I will look forward to that. I want to remind you that your paper, your reflective exercise, is asking you to identify nurse sensitive indicators related to quality. As you sit down and think about what are the things that nurses can influence directly related to quality. I want to remind you that it needs to be primarily nursing. And you need to clearly explain how nurses are sensitive to the indicator and how it relates to quality. And make sure you support each indicator. So if there are 5 indicators, as you're being required to do to identify, you should support each 5 of them and do it with a scholarly reference. So if you have questions or concerns as you develop that paper, touch base and reach out and let me know. As you're reading your paper from last week from the schematic, if you are unclear about the feedback or you want to discuss it, I'm happy to talk about it. Know that I'm here. We're in week 7, so you only have next week and you will be done. And for many of you, that means that you're going to take a really quick deep breath and run right back into courses on the 29th. So I hope at some point you'll take a little bit of time to take your day or two and just catch your breath. Remember, your MSN is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to take care of yourself as you move forward in the journey. Know that I'm here and praying for you. Touch base if I can help you in any way. Y'all have a great week.